The Cardiac Cardinals were at it again on Thursday and got some historic contributions to come away with the double sweep in Chicago.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I am your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. Follow me on X at JD Sports Radio and the podcast at LO_Cardinals. We're on YouTube. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and hit that notification button so you don't miss out on things. Plus, available on TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. So the Cardinals didn't make the games easy on Thursday. They don't make games easy in general for most of the season, or at least it feels like that. After punishing the White Sox on Tuesday night, the Cardinals got rained out again on Wednesday, which set up their sixth double headers already this year for the Cardinals. Had to do that on Thursday, and it really was a tale of two games just with similar endings for the Cardinals, who, win or lose, tend to make things very, very interesting. Sometimes it's a good thing, like in game one. Sometimes it's infuriating, like in game two. So let's start in game one, where the Cardinals jumped out early with the sac fly in the first inning by Wilson Contreras, who had a big day all around, knocking in 5 runs combined. But, that inning felt like a missed opportunity, right? You get bases loaded, nobody out, and you only manage 1 run. That's not usually great. You usually want to push at least 2 across, but they do manage to get 1 at least. So beggars can't be choosers, but you would hope you could do a little more damage in that inning. The offense then, unfortunately, stays quiet until the 6th inning. Cardinals are down 2-1. Ivan Herrera gets that leadoff single. Cardinals catch a break on the catcher's interference call for Burley. And then Contreras and Gorman go down, but Gorman's is a productive at bat. And it gets overlooked a little bit because the fact that he put the ball in play, rolled a ground ball over to the first baseman, it moves the runners over to second and third. This prompts the White Sox to walk Nolan Arenado. They intentionally give him the pass so that they can take on the struggling Lars Nootbaar. And the fact that Gorman did what he did, it set up this whole sequence. It was a chain reaction of things. And what the White Sox did there, it made sense. The Chicago White Sox are thinking, all right, let's get a lefty-lefty matchup. Newt's not hitting all that well. This is a good spot. If you're going to take chances with somebody, you want it to be with Newt and not Arenado. But anytime you load the bases, it just puts a lot of pressure on that pitcher. And in this case, it ends up working out as Newt draws the 5-pitch walk to tie the game up at 2. And what we saw there was the Nootbaar that we're used to, right? That's the guy who is very patient. He's not chasing. And although none of the balls were all that close, he looked very, I don't know if I'm making up a word here, he looked very nudie in that at bat. And I'm not saying newty, very Lars Nootbaarish in that particular at bat. He looked like he was seeing the ball well. He was tracking it well, was able to lay off, didn't go chasing, didn't swing it, stuff that he wasn't going to do anything with anyway, which is kind of the stuff we've been seeing since he's been in this slump. Then, now that we got a tie ball game, Matz comes in, and he gives the lead right back in the bottom half on a 2-run shot by the number 9 hitter, which is Michael Taylor, which ends up being a part of a historic inning for Matz in the long run. He strikes out 4 guys in this particular inning after the leadoff hitter swung at strike 3. Ball gets away. It's in the dirt, goes off Herrera's glove, and he tried to backhand it. Bad form there by Herrera. Can't do that. You got to get in front of that ball. And that ends up putting Sosa on first base, but that's a strikeout, even though he gets on. He then whiffs Slater. Then after going 0-2 on Taylor and not getting the strike call on that sinker, which it clipped the zone. Like watching it live and then going back and looking at the strike zone, so it clipped the zone, but was called the ball. So ABS, I'm tapping my head if you're not watching on YouTube. ABS, please hurry. Anyway, hangs a changeup instead on the next one, and 2-run home run makes it 4-2. Obviously, he's pissed. Now you can see the way he was throwing. Matz is unhappy. He strikes out Talkman, and then my drop to give him 4 strikeouts in an inning, which is significant. The last time a Cardinal did it, and I think it's the only time a Cardinal has done it, I think this is just the second time it's happened, was Bob Gibson in 1966. So a historic and memorable moment, but not one that Matz is really going to think fondly of because he gave up the lead. Cardinals are losing again, but per usual, one of the great things about this Cardinals team is they don't back down. They tend to fight back, and they did it again in this one when they plated 3 runs in the 8th inning. The Sox end up going to their lefty Cam Boozer, which is a fantastic name, by the way. And you get the leadoff single by Alec Burleson, who is just white hot right now. Red hot is really, really good. White hot, scorching hot right now, Alec Burleson. When he puts the ball in play, it is finding room no matter how hard he hits it. And then you get Villain Willy to come up to the plate, and he just enjoys playing in Chicago. You know this. I know this. He talked about it after the game that, he enjoys playing in Chicago. He enjoys getting booed. You're doing us a favor when you boo Wilson Contreras. He thrives off of it, and he unloads on the first pitch that he sees to tie it at 4, 10th smash of the year. I love Villain Willy. I'm going to say it. I love it. I love the swagger. I love the cockiness. I like how he plays to the crowd. It is entertaining. And when he goes down on strikes in front of these people, they boo him mercilessly, and they should, and it's all in good fun. But he gets booed no matter whether it's the Cubs, whether it's the White Sox. Chicago boos him all the time. But it's just good, clean fun. I enjoy it. I think it's great. I think it makes the game more fun. So after that, Boozer goes full White Sox in this one and ends up overthrowing that tapper back to him by Gorman. Lally pops it over to first base, goes over the first baseman's head. He then throws a wild pitch, moves Gorman over to second base. Newt tries to bunt, falls behind 0-2, but then very Newty again, works his way back to another walk, which you got to love it. Comes through. Walker ends up smoking one to left center. That's the one that Chip Carey thought was going to land in Canada, and it ends up dying on the track. The win was a tough one for the Cardinals in game 1 at least. So that dies on the track, but it's a productive out because it moves Gorman over, and then the pinch hitter, Joel Pozo, Ollie hits the right button here, laces an RBI single to left to give them a 5-4 lead. Once again, doing the little things right. Not striking out in big situations, just putting the ball in play, making other teams make plays. It moves guys over. Good baseball. Good baseball. Maton and Helsley pitch clean innings, and the Cardinals win that 1-5-4. Eric Fetty, very strong in his 5 innings. He allows just 1 earned run. Was quoted after the game talking about how these Cardinals don't quit, man. He says whether we've won or lost, we've had a lot of fight in the late innings. These are big games for us to win, and having that fight and coming back is huge, and it carried over into game 2 when the Cardinals were able to jump out on the Sox pretty quickly. Plus, Nolan Arenado has a historic moment. Should have had one in the first one, but the wind knocked it down. Historic moment in game 2. We'll discuss it all coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. Whether you're gearing up for back-to-back meetings, shuttling kids back and forth to activities, or you're tackling an endless honey to-do list, the morning sets the tone for everything you're going to do in your game, and that's why it needs to start with the perfect cup of coffee crafted just for you. Enter Trade. Trade is the #1 coffee destination in the United States, delivering fresh, incredible coffee from over 50 of the country's top roasters. So whether you're a cold brew fan like I am, especially in the summer heat, or maybe you're a pour-over purist, they're going to have a roast for you that you're going to love. They've got so many to choose from. I told you, I picked some out for my mother-in-law. She loved it. I love it. I think you're going to like it too. And it seems like everything, it's getting more expensive these days because it is. So you want your money's worth. And Trade Coffee's prices, they're comparable to the grocery store prices, but it's better. It just tastes better. The flavor is better. It's a whole different level. You're going to dig it. Right now, Trade is exclusively offering our customers 50% off your 1-month trial at drinktrade.com/lockedonmlb. That's TRADE.com/lockedonmlb for 50% off your 1-month trial. drinktrade.com/lockedonmlb. Thanks again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Leave your comments on YouTube as well as on X anytime you want. I always enjoy that feedback from you, good or bad. So after that thrilling come from behind victory in game 1, the Cardinals came out smashing in game 2. You had Michael McGreevy making the spot start, which was great because we love seeing McGreevy on the hill. He is the future. He's going to be in this rotation. If not after the trade deadline, he's coming next year. Coming in hot next year is one of these guys that's going to be in that rotation every 5th day. And again, he pitches well. He does give up a home run in the 2nd inning, which this one, sometimes the batters just win. This is a changeup off the plate, outside to the left-hander, and he goes out and gets it and somehow gets the ball over the wall in left field. The pitches or the swings in the hits and the fly balls in the first game by Arenado, Herrera, Walker, they don't go out somehow, some way in game 1. But this one makes it over the wall in left field. Hilarious stuff, but what can you do? That's just the way the wind was in Chicago. And so they're down 1-0 in this 3rd inning, and they get the leadoff hit by Victor Scott, who promptly steals second base. Run, Vic, run. We love it. They end up plunking Contreras. That wasn't intentional. It was a curveball. Everybody relax. It was fine. And that brings in Alec Burleson. And I still not entirely sure how he hit this ball, but he swings at a ball that is a foot above the strike zone. I mean, really, it's almost like a foot. It's above his shoulders. And he somehow hits it to the opposite field and turns it into a 3-run home run to left. I don't know how he did it. I don't know how the physics work out that way, where he was able to get on top of that ball and still send it and have enough lift on it to get. I don't know. But when you're hot, you're hot. And Alec Burleson is scorching right now. It doesn't matter. Lefty, righty. He doesn't care. He's going to hit it. 3-1 Cardinals after that swing of the bat. And that brings in Nolan Arenado, who ends up yanking a sweeper outside part of the plate, yanks it into left field for a solo blast to left. Back-to-back jacks for the Birds, but more importantly, that's pretty important too, but another milestone for the great Nolan Arenado, who ends up hitting his 350th long fly of his career, became just the 6th active player to reach 350 home runs. Giancarlo Stanton, Mike Trout, former Cardinal Paul Goldschmidt, Manny Machado, and Freddie Freeman, the only other ones in Major League Baseball that are active that are at 350. And now, just the 7th player ever in the history of this game to have 350 home runs and 10 gold gloves, joining Johnny Bench, Mike Schmidt, Willie Mays Hayes, King Griffey Jr., Andrew Jones, and now Kaline. Everybody but Andrew Jones is in the Hall of Fame. Everybody else is in there. Not too shabby. Nolan Arenado is going to be there eventually. Cardinals were not done, though. That was not the end of this. They, in the 4th inning, they get a 2-out, 2-run single by guess who? Willy. And it seems like they're going to run away with things. Like, this feels like it's in the bag and ready to go. But that didn't happen. After pulling McGreevy after 5 innings and 76 pitches, didn't have a lot of rest and stuff because people were like, why the hell is he pulling him out? With a comfortable lead, and he was at 76 pitches. What was he going to go? Maybe one more inning. And it was just a rough schedule thing there to get McGreevy to the game. So I kind of get it, but the bullpen ends up falling apart. O'Brien comes in, does fine in that next inning. But in the 7th, you get John King out there, gives up another annoying-ass infield single. I swear the Cardinals lead the league in these stupid infield hits. Like, it is unbelievable the amount of swinging bunts that these teams get against the Cardinals pitching. And again, I've explained it before, because they don't get enough swing and miss, the other team gets just enough of the ball, and that's why this keeps happening. And it is so when you're the pitcher, because you make a good pitch, the guy doesn't hit it hard, and he still gets a single out of it. It just sucks. Then he gives up a single to Slater. Ollie goes to the bullpen, goes to Cal Leahy, who, again, has been struggling recently. He has not been as, dominant as he was early on in this season, whether it's scouting reports, whether his stuff just isn't as good. It just hasn't been as easy for him. He does get the strikeout of Luis Robert Jr., but then there's a single to right. Nice shot there. Then a walk. And then Andrew Benintendi It's a hanging breaking ball, first pitch swinging for a grand slam, and we got a tied ball game. It's unreal. And I remember tweeting at the time, I was like, if they lose this game, they should all have to walk home, because you cannot blow a 6-1 lead against a team like the Chicago White Sox. You just can't have it. They're not to your level. You're a better team than them, and you blow a 5-run lead. That cannot happen. But you can either cry over it or do something about it. And the bullpen, after this moment, locks it down. Thanks to some solid defense, though. A great diving play by Jose Barrero to save a run. Nolan Arenado makes that play, and they get the out at home when Tauchman was running. I don't know if he got hurt. I don't know what the hell happened there. He just quit running and made the out so much easier at home plate, but they saved the winning run from scoring. That pushes things to extra innings, and in the 10th inning, the Cardinals get an RBI single by Nolan Arenado. Nice piece of hitting there. Jordan Walker was the pinch runner for Wilson Contreras, so a super smart move there again by Ollie Marmol. Another move that will go overlooked, but to get the faster runner and Jordan Walker out there instead of having Contreras running, he's able to score on the base hit, and then Lars Nootbaar tags one for a solo home run to make it 8-6. Cardinals bringing on Granillo, who had a very entertaining day. He picks up his first major league win in game one. Only faces one hitter in that game and still gets the win. And then gets his first major league save in the 10th inning in game two. So Cards win it by a score of 8-6. Wacky, wild day. You don't want to have games that are this tight against teams that aren't as good like the Chicago White Sox, but you want them all. You still got the W's at the end of the day, and that's what matters. They sweep the doubleheader. They sweep the series. You get the loud, ugly shirt because the Cardinals finally won another series, and they push themselves back into a tie for second place in the division with the Milwaukee Brewers. They're both 5.5 back of the Cubs and are a half game back of the Padres in the wild card standings. And you look at the wild card standings, and I know it doesn't look great for the Cardinals. You know, you got a lot of good teams that are sitting up there in the wild card. I mean, you're seeing what's going on in the NL West, where you've got the Padres, you've got the Giants. The Dodgers are obviously very, very good. Arizona has certainly fallen off from those guys. But then you're also dealing with what's going on in the NL East between the Phillies and the Mets, who are both, as far as wild card goes, there you go. Mets NL wild card, because technically they're tied right now with the Phillies. So they're tied. So one of them two obviously is going to be that first one. And then you got the Giants, and then you got the Padres, and then there's the Brewers and the Cardinals, and the Reds are right there. The Reds are a game and a half out of it too. And the Braves are surging now. They're starting to get healthy, and they have won 3 in a row. So it's going to be tight. It's not going to be easy for the Cardinals. So getting a sweep and beating the teams like the White Sox, like, you just have to do that if you're going to stick around in this thing. So successful 3-game series against the White Sox. Not a whole lot to complain about. Nothing's perfect. I don't like seeing these runners getting picked off. That's stupid. Bad base running is going to drive everybody insane. But overall, you know, you come out of it feeling pretty good. I mean, the grand slam from Benintendi makes things look really, really bad for the bullpen in the grand scheme of things. But, you know, the first game, everything went well. Second game, they were able to hold them after, you know, giving up a few runs. But there's not a whole lot to complain about. Things can be better, obviously, clean some things up, but you're feeling pretty good about yourself. Finally, you get a few games in a row here where you're winning, and they're exciting wins, and you feel better about yourself going into the series. You're coming back home finally after this road trip, and now you got to take care of business with 2 huge series at home coming up against the Reds and the Cubs. We're going to preview the Cincinnati series coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. Have you ever decided, last minute, we're going to head to the ball game? Maybe we're going to go to the game tonight. We're over this weekend against the Reds and the Cardinals. My wife is trying to get us to go to those games. Unfortunately, I got to do more work stuff, but I can't go. But maybe you and the friends and the family are like, you know what? Cardinals just won 3 in a row. Let's go check them out, taking on those Cincinnati Redlegs. Maybe it's game day. You suddenly realize you just want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Gametime comes into play. They're going to be your friend here. Easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on things like food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to go with you. And Gametime will make that possible. Gametime makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app, they're going to drop the closer you get to first pitch. And they've got incredible last-minute deals. Clear seat view, so you know exactly what your view is going to be, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. Gametime is the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB, making it easy to browse the app for an exciting upcoming MLB game, whether it's this particular series against the Reds or obviously with the Cubbies coming to town. You're going to see a lot of blue trying to show up into the Busch Stadium and take over. Don't let it happen. Gametime has last-minute tickets and zone deals for big savings. Plus, as I mentioned, you're going to save money. This is the whole point, is saving money. Cardinals are contending this year. Things are going to get busy at Busch Stadium. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB. You're going to get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Thanks again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night, every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. You can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. So the Reds are in town this weekend. Cubbies follow after that, but let's keep it focused and talk about the Reds first. I know you want to talk about the Cubbies. We'll get to that. But we got to get through the Reds first. Don't overlook these guys. Things are tightening up, and the trade deadline is on the horizon. It is looming. This homestand is huge. Like you can take 5 games out of this one. You're feeling really good about yourself. But if you don't, and you lose both, you're going to start really second guessing what your strategy is going to be as you move into the trade deadline area of July. Reds are coming in playing very well, too. This is not a pushover team. Winners of 7 of their last 10. They won 4 straight series over some good teams. The Diamondbacks, the Guardians, the Tigers. Just took 2 or 3 from the Twins, although one of those games was a rain-shortened one, but they get the win. They did lose on Thursday 12-5, so they are licking their wounds a little bit from getting beat up in that one. The Cardinals and Reds split the 4-game series in Cincinnati earlier this year. They swept that doubleheader, which I was at, outscoring them 15-1, which was awesome. But the Reds they're tough. They've given the Cardinals a tough time over the last couple of years. For years and years, it was always, hey, the Cardinals are the big brother, and they just kick the Reds around. They don't fear the Cardinals like they used to. In fact, I believe most of the Reds fan base feels that the Reds are a better team than the Cardinals. They really do. They have confidence against them. Pitching matchups, Brady Singer against Andre Palante. I think you kind of like Singer, in just being honest, in that one. Sonny Gray against Wade Miley. Give me Sonny Gray all day. And then it's Andrew Abbott and Miles Michaelis on Sunday, and Abbott has been outstanding. So I would take Abbott in that one. So you get 2 more lefties for the Cardinals, who fare much better against righties. As I mentioned, Abbott has been exceptional. So not an easy series setup for these guys. Reds' hottest hitters right now in the past week, TJ Friedl, their leadoff guy at the top of the order, has been hitting 300 over the last week, 294 on the season. He's pesky. He's not a guy that's going to run a whole lot, but he is just a steady presence at the top of their order. So you got to keep an eye on him, keep him off the base paths. Matt McClain, if you go down to the bottom of the order, Matt McClain is hitting 353 over the last week. Had a really rough year so far. He's trying to get to that. Did he make it to 200 yet? I know he was below the Mendoza line for quite some time, and I'm pretty sure he's still there. But either way, if he's not, he's right there at 200. But he has been hitting very well. We're at 197 for Matt McClain right now. He's been hitting much better, though. 353 over the last week. And if he's getting hot, he's certainly a guy you got to keep an eye on, because Caesar removed, didn't play last year because of injuries, and Before that, though, speed, power. That was his game. He's a steady glove at second base. Very good defensive second baseman. So he can cause some havoc. So you don't want those two guys to beat you. But getting the role players out is really the key against the Cincinnati Reds. Elly De La Cruz, an incredible talent. We know this. Switch hitter, cannon arm, super fast, one of the fastest in the league, a lot of power. He is their best player, by far their best player. And if he gets on base, he's going to run. They got to slow that down somehow, or just keep him off base because he likes to strike out a lot too. So try to get him to go fishing on some stuff because he will swing and miss a lot. But honestly, it's the bit players for the Reds that you got to make sure that you don't let them beat you. Guys like Will Benson and Jake Fraley and Gavin Lux and Christian Encarnacion Strand and Jose Trevino, who was a demon against the Cardinals in Cincinnati. Those are the guys that you can't let beat you. You know, Elly, Spencer Steer, Tyler Stevenson, they're going to get their hits. They're good players. But what's going to drive you nuts is giving up 2-out hits or missing your spots to the other group of players that I mentioned there, the more of the rotational role guys that are on that roster. That's what's going to drive you nuts with the Cincinnati Reds. You start letting those guys come through and you're in big trouble. That's when you're in big trouble. The Reds bullpen moved on from Alexis Diaz after the Cardinals beat the snot out of him during that doubleheader. And things have settled down for the bullpen, especially with the righties. Emilio Pagan, Tony Santillan, Scott Barlow, they've been really, really good recently. The lefties for the Reds bullpen has struggled a little bit. So for the Cardinals, my suggestion to you is to just continue to do the little things well. You're a better baseball team when fundamentally sound stuff is happening. Okay? Good defense, good base running, taking advantage of extra bases that the defense will give you, taking advantage of errors that the other team commits. Just being smart out there, making the smart plays. Don't make too many mistakes. With two lefties on the mound, you're going to need the big boppers in this lineup to come through. You're going to need big, Contreras is hitting very, very well right now. I love where his head's at. Stay being Villain Willy. Mess with the Reds. Be cocky. Make them think about you. Ivan Herrera, let's get him going again. Nolan Arenado, obviously, hit the 350th. He's been doing well. Jordan Walker back in the lineup. Let's see him do some damage and eat into that bullpen. Then, when they use their strong righties, you attack them with the good left-handed bats that you have in your possession already. Hopefully, Lars Nootbaar's coming out of it. He looked so much better in the doubleheader against Chicago. Burleson, again, white hot right now. Brendan Donovan, let's get him going again. Nolan Gorman has looked much better. Victor Scott doing some things in that series against Chicago. Make them burn through Santillan and Pagan, or just eliminate them all together, and your path to victory is going to be so much easier and so much smoother. So those are my suggestions. Let's see a lot of Cardinals fans down at Busch Stadium this weekend. This is big. You got to get 2 out of 3 against the Reds, because things are also going to be very difficult when the Cubs come to town. But do not look past the Cincinnati Reds right now. Okay, they are right on your heels. They just passed you actually on the rainout day when the Cardinals didn't play. Reds won and actually passed the Cardinals and moved up ahead of them in third place and put you in fourth. Like, they're right there. So don't let them get any more momentum moving forward. Take care of business. Let's get it done. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, give us a follow on X at LO_Cardinals and JD Sports Radio, TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. Like, subscribe on YouTube. Help our channel and our love for the Cardinals grow. You guys are the best fans in baseball for a reason. I'm going to see you next time, this weekend, in fact, on Locked On Cardinals.